Hi, my name is Paula Druin, and I'm here to really answer your questions about restorative justice. And what restorative justice is, according to the UN, the definition is that restorative justice is a process that focuses on repairing harm that's caused by crimes. And it will involve the victim, the offender, the community that's impacted, sometimes the justice agencies, and any of the social networks that were impacted by that crime. How it's different from criminal justice is that criminal justice really focuses on crime as a violation of the law and of the state, whereas restorative justice really focuses on crime as a violation of relationships and of people in particular. And so the general focus is in criminal justice is offenders getting what they deserve, whereas in restorative justice, the focus is really on what are the victim's needs, how is the victim harmed, and what can the offender do to make amends and to make things right again. And so some ways of putting that into perspective is to really look at what are the key questions that criminal justice process would ask compared to those same questions and what would restorative justice focus on. And so in criminal justice, it's really what laws have been broken, who broke those laws, and what does that person deserve for breaking those laws. Whereas in restorative justice, what you're really wanting to look at is who has been hurt by the crime, what are the person's needs, so that person who's been harmed, what are their needs, and who's obligated to repair that harm. So I'm often asked, why would a victim or offender ever want to meet? And it's actually quite fascinating because the victim often has questions that a friend can't answer, a psychologist can't answer, the police can't answer, and frequently it's around why me? You know, why did you harm me? What did I do to deserve this? The offenders, some offenders really do, in retrospect, feel guilty about what they've done. Restorative justice is only used in cases where the offender is accepting responsibility for what they've done. It's not an opportunity to negotiate whether they're guilty or not. They have to admit guilt. They have to admit that, yes, I did do that. I do want to meet with the victim. It's required that both the victim and the offender volunteer for that dialogue. The offender has to be willing to make amends that the victim feels makes sense. And the victim's participation is really, it gives them an opportunity to share how they were impacted by the crime. It gives them an opportunity to ask any questions that only the person who committed that crime can really answer. And it gives them an opportunity to say what would make it right according to them. So, I mean, you're probably wondering what this has to do with resolving workplace disputes when we start talking about crimes. But restorative justice has grown now into something bigger than it's just that narrow justice focus. And the new umbrella name is restorative practices. And so frequently in a workplace situation when coworkers aren't getting along, if one feels that they've been harmed by the other one or their reputation has been harmed, a very good approach for working with those employees is a restorative justice approach that's focusing on having the employee talk about how they were impacted by the actions of another employee and to have just a candid conversation about that impact, about what needs to happen to prevent it from happening again and to repair the harm that was done to the reputation or to the workstation or whatever the case might be. And so rather than going into a workplace situation with the sole intent of banging out some kind of an agreement or to make a decision about who's right or who's wrong or using a punishment model, another option is to just facilitate a candid conversation about how the employees are harming each other with their behavior and how to move beyond that.